Dance of the Continents is what the creators of this animated video, employees of the Oceanographic University of China, call it. In just a minute and a half, they showed how the outlines of the Earth changed over 1,800,000,000 years. This is roughly a third of the entire history of our planet's existence. According to the latest scientific theories, the entire geological history of the Earth is a series of supercontinental cycles. That is, the continents are constantly moving, first towards each other and then apart. Thus, unified landmasses surrounded by the ocean were formed. After some time, they broke apart, and then the fragments rejoined in different configurations. The first megacontinent on Earth, scientists call Valbara. It presumably formed about 3.5 billion years ago. Then, one after another, the supercontinents Kenorland, Nuna, Rodinia, and finally 300 million years ago Pangaea emerged. In the Jurassic period, when dinosaurs already roamed the Earth, it split into two parts. Pangaea initially broke into two large continents, Laurasia and Gondwana, which further broke down into the continents we know today. How many continents are there on Earth? Any seventh grader who attends geography classes will answer without hesitation: 6. These are Eurasia, Africa, North and South America, Australia, and Antarctica. However, geologists still debate this topic. Some are convinced that both Americas should be considered one continent since they are not separated by water, but connected by the Panama Isthmus. However, most scientists object to such a union. From a geological point of view, these were initially two different continents that, due to the movement of these continents over the mantle, have peculiarly converged in the Panama Isthmus area. The entire surface of the Earth consists of lithospheric plates. The largest ones contain the continents, and there are also medium and small platforms. There are about 100 of them in total. Some are on land, others underwater, and all of them, albeit slowly, move relentlessly in different directions. But what makes parts of the Earth's crust move? The rotation of the Earth, the movement of the liquid part in the core causes cracks to appear deep in the mantle. Molten material enters these cracks, begins to move the mantle's substance, and this causes the Earth's crust to move. These are general assumptions. Why assumptions? Because no one has proven it. We have penetrated the Earth's depths only about 12 kilometers. Periodically, lithospheric plates collide, forming mountains. Sometimes they subduct under each other. Thus, according to scientists, one of the ancient continents, Greater Adria, somewhere in the Mediterranean region, disappeared. Greater Adria was a continent that separated from Gondwana. It was the size of modern Greenland. And about 100 million years ago, it collided with the European continent and, as a result, subducted beneath it. How do geologists learn about the movements of continents millions of years ago? Often, these are just theories. Many hypotheses, especially about events in the distant past, are unlikely ever to find 100% confirmation. But how do they arise? First, experts study the compositions of rock formations. For example, if marine deposits are found on land, it means that many years ago the ocean floor was here. Using radiometric dating and other types of research, it is possible to establish the approximate time when the sea retreated. Also, specialists compare the features of the relief and the shape of modern continents to understand which part of the land separated from what. In this regard, it is easiest to understand how South America separated from Africa. Why? Because the rock complexes on the African continent and in South America match each other in age and composition. Plus, the shapes of Africa and South America in the place where they were once connected still match very well. If you look at a map of tectonic plates, their boundaries are most often underwater. For example, the border between the North American and Eurasian continents runs through the Atlantic and Arctic Oceans. But it also divides Iceland in half. That is why there are so many volcanoes there. The crack in the Earth's crust can be seen with your own eyes and even touched, for example, by descending to the bottom of Lake Thingvallavatn in the southwest of the country. If you dive there, you can touch both plates at the bottom because the lake narrows at depth. And you can, by spreading your arms, touch the Eurasian plate with one hand and the North American plate with the other. The relief of the continent is influenced not only by interactions with neighboring plates, but also by processes deep within the Earth. It is known that 250 million years ago, the territory of modern Siberia was a real hell on Earth. 70% of the flora and fauna on the entire planet perished from powerful volcanic eruptions. The epicenter was on the Putorana Plateau. Now it is the north of the Krasnoyarsk territory. The layer of solidified lava there reached 1.5 kilometers. Now everything is calm in Siberia. The ancient volcanoes have long been extinct. Only traps, geological structures in the form of steps composed of magmatic rocks, remind of that terrible catastrophe. Scientists still wonder what caused the global cataclysm. The movement of the Earth's crust at that time resembled the movement of separate parts of the continent, but not in different directions, but relative to each other there, right, left, or up, down, only on the surface. As a result, very giant cracks formed, and a vast amount of molten magma rose through these cracks, which eventually spread very well over the surface. Could such a catastrophe happen again? It is quite probable, scientists believe. However, if it does happen, it will not be soon, approximately in 100 million years. By that time, the appearance of our planet will change significantly. Researchers using computer modeling build dozens of theories. What will happen to islands, peninsulas, and continents? For example, geologists predict that the Californian Peninsula will break away from the eastern coast of North America, along with part of the state of the same name. The San Andreas Fault runs there from north to south, the boundary between the North American and Pacific plates. Americans calculated that the Californian Peninsula is now quietly breaking away from them, and in a few tens of millions of years, California, along with Hollywood, will dock at Vladivostok. According to another hypothesis, in 3 to 4 million years, the eastern part of Africa will separate from it, from northern Ethiopia to central Mozambique. There is a fault that arose due to constant friction between the continental and neighboring Arabian plate. Its boundary runs along the Ethiopian highlands, and nearby, in the tectonic depression, is the Afar Valley. About 1.5 million people live there now. Their distant descendants will have to think about moving. And now, in fact, only a few kilometers separate a fairly large region of Ethiopia from a catastrophe. That is, as soon as a small mountain range cracks there and water starts flowing through this crack to the bottom of the depression in Ethiopia, the Afar Valley will simply be flooded with ocean water. Meanwhile, the fragment of East Africa will temporarily turn into an island and drift towards the Arabian plate until it joins it. Other land masses are also slowly but surely moving towards each other. As a result, they will of course unite, but already in a new combination, into a single continent. Well, this of course will happen very far in the future, but everything is moving precisely towards this. According to scientists' forecasts, in about 100 million years, the Mediterranean Sea will disappear. Africa will join Eurasia. The Japanese islands will become part of North America, and Antarctica will become one with the South American continent. And in 200 million years, all land masses on Earth will again merge into one supercontinent, approximately where the Pacific Ocean is now located. The authors of this forecast, experts from the Australian Curtin University, named the future megacontinent Amasia.